Pisces, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late March, moving into early April 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Pisces collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you have for Pisces, gang, in late March, early April? We're in the early stages of Aries season. What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. So let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Pisces in late March, early April. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's get this card out. There we go. Cool. All right. Yeah, this card always puts a smile on my face. I feel like I've seen it for one other sign this week, so that's pretty good. This card has a lady with a tree growing out of her damn head, right? And it always makes me laugh for some reason, but there is a lot of in-depth symbolism attached to it as well. So maybe it's no laughing matter. But I love this for like the mind and ideas and creativity. It's beautiful for this. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the March subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this. So as you can see, we have this beautiful lady right here. She has books open on her lap. She has the tree that is growing out of her head with fruit coming off of the tree, which I always think is really great. So to me, it's like someone having a really great idea or a very fertile mind. Now, everyone knows Pisces get the reputation for being very creative individuals. A lot of Pisces need some sort of outlet for that really in-depth creative energy that's within. And obviously, a lot of you know I'm a Pisces rising, so I get it. But this can also represent more pragmatic information as well. So whether there's like information or things that you're trying to learn and cram, this is very, very good for remembering things, memorizing things, just taking in information. Now, for some Pisces, maybe that shows up as you diving down rabbit holes on the internet. Maybe you're literally studying something when this card is here. But I just love the fruitful mind that we have. And again, watch out for like eureka moments, aha moments where dots connect. And it's like, oh, I finally get it now. There's a strong energy of understanding with this card that I really, really like. And there are slight undertones of communication, but we're going to let her chill here. The only downside to this card would potentially be overthinking, so just watch out for that. But we're going to let her keep cramming that information. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading, it's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Pisces gang. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading, which centered around communication. Now, the reading was titled The Surprising Talk. Now, that could show up in a lot of different ways. So whether it was a talk with somebody you weren't expecting to speak to, conversation you weren't expecting to have, there was this energy of like communication popping up out of the blue. So just know that energy could bleed over for a couple weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for Pisces. What do we have in late March, early April? There we go. Nice and quick. Hanged Man. Very analytical. And it's similar. Like they have a very similar vibe. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the Hanged Man just because of the image on the card and the name of it, but this doesn't have to be a bad thing. And it's great for analyzing. It's really great for analyzing. Let's get a couple more. Okay, King of Swords. Very analytical again. Okay. Okay. But it's like in a different way than Pisces usually does it. Okay, let's get one more. This is going to be an intriguing one, my friends. That's for sure, because we're getting some pretty strong themes. Page of Pentacles, lots of other people showing up here as well. So for some of you, maybe this isn't your energy that we're picking up. Maybe it's somebody else's. Very possible. But yeah, this Page of Pentacles on the back end could be a very good thing. And again, it's another student. So it's like all of these cards have a similar vibe to her, but in a different shade, a different way, where it's all about knowledge absorption. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, and we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, I always like to look at the elements, and there's a pretty good mixture here. I always say when it's too much of one element, it could be too lopsided. And I always think it's important to look at the elements because it frames the reading and shows us how things are moving. We have a mixture of earth and water right here in the front. We have air and we have earth. So we have a nice blend of energy going on here. Now with the Hanged Man, some people give that card to Pisces as a Pisces power card. I'm just going to put it out there, but that's the earth water mix. I would say earth and water has a potential for abundance. We think of the inner world, inner security, emotions. All of these things could be in play on the Hanged Man, but in a lot of different ways. In the center, we have the air, which is the pragmatic, logical mind. So, whereas water energy is much more outside the box and creative and flowy, this one is a little more strict. It's about the facts. It's about dotting the I's, crossing the T's. So, it is about the logic and the pragmatic mind. And the air energy is strong when it comes to planning and strategy. The downside, and again, the upside, it is communication, but the downside is that sometimes it can be very cold, logical, calculating, detached. So we do want to look at it. And then we have the earth here on the back end. I like earth element, especially in a Pisces reading, because it stabilizes stuff. Earth is, I already mentioned it a little bit here with him, the inner security, stability, day-to-day life, routine, money, work, finance, business, all of that could be in play. The only downside to earth is the speed at which it moves. Sometimes it doesn't move too quick. Sometimes it could be a little stubborn. So we have a nice mix. But aside from all the elements I already mentioned, all of these stem and theme from learning and knowledge acquisition and analysis. So let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we got the Hanged Man. Now, I always say, some people think this isn't the most pleasant card. And we see our friend here, they're hung upside down by their ankles, right? You would think this person should be freaking out, but they're not, right? Look, they just got a very content, blank face on. So they're not in distress. And notice they have this little halo going, which does tie into the mind. Now, the one thing I always say about the Hanged Man, yes, or no, it's not making any physical action at the moment. This is an energy that right now is absorbing information. It's watching, it's planning, it's learning, it's pulling information in. So not much is getting past this one. So I do like it for that. Maybe there's something specific that Spirit's trying to say, hey, Pisces, keep your eye on this, or something might need a little more of your attention. That could be very possible with the Hanged Man. It is retracted and pulled back, so no physical action, but a lot of watching and planning. The downside to the Hanged Man, it could be an energy that feels stuck, like it's not moving, like it's not making progress. So that's something we need to watch out for. And sometimes the Hanged Man will show up as a card of self-sacrifice where you put someone else's happiness above your own. So we're just going to put him right there. Now moving to the middle, some similarities, but definitely showing up in a different shade. We have the King of Swords, big air sign energy. Remember, it's not gender specific. This could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Kings represent control of their respective suit. We already spoke about like the mind, the logic, the planning, all that stuff. And that goes double for him. This is someone that controls the flow of information, controls how something goes. Very, very planned out and meticulous type of energy here. Very smart, very sharp. So again, we have this knowledge, this learning, this information absorption going on with this king. But we do have the planning and watching and analyzing. That's all over the place. So again, there could be this strong theme where there's certain things where Spirit's like, pay attention to this, pay attention to this, pay attention to this, or don't pay attention to this, don't pay attention to this, don't pay attention to that. We're going to have to see when we clarify. Now, the King of Swords, in his rougher aspect, he could be very cold, detached, and sometimes mean. He can sometimes show up when there's something that is serious or something that seriously requires attention. Remember, he's not playing games. He's not messing around. Now, we move to the back end. We got the Page of Pentacles, much different vibe. I always say when it comes to all pages, they're all students and messengers, and that goes double for this page, right? Because out of all the pages, the Page of Pentacles is more inclined to the knowledge acquisition. Now, it could be an earth sign you're connected to, so Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, but even if we put that out of the equation, this could be a message, a conversation, which we kind of saw being important last week, but this page is a learner. Remember, it's a fresh, new type of energy, but what might be the downside of the Page of Pentacles, or any page for that matter? Sometimes it could be a little too shy, a little too bashful. Sometimes it's an energy that can second guess its actions and its decisions. So I want to dive deeper on all this, Pisces. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. What do we got? What do we got for Pisces, gang? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Hanged Man. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Pisces, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the Hanged Man here? Why is the Hanged Man here? Okay, thank you. It's just waiting for the perfect time. Okay, so we have the King of Wands in the upright. So interesting how we have double kings, lots of people here. So that is something that could be very important, especially if you're dealing with any like group dynamics, whether that is friends, family, coworkers, clients, you name it. There's just like a lot of people showing up in your spread this week. So again, some of this energy might not even be yours. We're looking at it could be someone else and their behavior. Now, the thing with the King of Wands that's different than the King of Swords, where this one's more involved with planning, like the King of Swords is planning in the mind and strategy. The King of Wands is all about the action, right? That's the big thing with fire. It's the action, it's the fire, it's the passion. And this energy, the King of Wands, wants to make a move. This is an energy that wants to take action, wants to do something. But under an analytical card like this Hanged Man, either it is someone holding back, where it's like, I want to do this, but I can't. I really want to do this, but I shouldn't. I really want to do this, but I can't do it yet. That's initially what it was showing up to me in the intuitive sense, where it's like waiting for the perfect time. I'm waiting for the right time, the perfect time. And I've seen this in a couple other signs this week, so you're not alone. So I do see this impending action or this plan, um, but there's something about it where it needs, there's something about the timing. Maybe it's divine timing for some of you. You might be dealing with certain things or situations where divine timing is very important. But yeah, this energy is refraining for the perfect opportunity to pounce. That's how it feels to me. So we're going to keep moving. We're just going to put him down right there. And again, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sag. We have almost the whole damn zodiac out here. So it's like all the signs. But let's keep moving over to the King of Swords. Let's see why the King of Swords is here. Very intriguing, very planned out, very structured, which usually Pisces energy is very much like, hey, let's go with the flow. Let's let things happen how they need to happen. This energy this week is very, very structured. Like, no, this has to happen. This has to happen now. All right, let's go in on the King. Let's go in on the King of Swords. I see here. Thank you. And just why all these people? And now we do have the whole damn zodiac out here. We have the Queen of Cups in the upright, which is one of the Pisces power cards, right there underneath the King of Swords. Now, this is a good blend because it's not as like time locked as this first energy on the front. When I see the King of Swords with the Queen of Cups, it's like I'm using my heart and my mind. I'm using my logic and my intuition here. Where like this energy is trying to intuit its way through the world, where it's like feeling its way through, but also using logic. This energy on the front is very rigid. Okay, so the Queen of Cups is all about emotion, intuition. Again, Pisces power card, huge here. So I love it in the center with the King of Swords because it takes the edge off of this King of Swords, the front. So it's like we have the perfect blend. No, timing doesn't matter. You don't need to wait for the perfect divine timing. Sometimes you need to take inspired action, or sometimes things just line up the way they line up. A lot of people here. So again, I know a lot of my fellow Pisceans out there are very sensitive to energies. So whether it's friends, family, or otherwise, just know could be hypersensitive with all these people here, all these court cards this week. So you might need to ground it, protect yourself, and all that good stuff. But yeah, we still have the planning, we have the analyzing, we have the watching. That's another thing too. We added in the front, and even with the King of Swords, to me, it's like he's looking at the Queen of Cups. He just is. So just know, like, you might be getting a little more attention than you normally do, or there might be more eyes on you and the moves that you're making. Let's move over to the Page of Pentacles, and we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So I wonder if we're going to get another person here. The only thing we're missing is like a knight, right? So why is that Page of Pentacles in the mix? The only one we're missing is the knight, which is one of the action cards. Okay. Okay, so can you guess? It's not a knight, but it is indeed another person. We got the Page of Wands in the upright underneath this Page of Pentacles. Now, this one is very, very intuitive, where it's like, no, now's the time. Let's pounce. So like this one's waiting, refraining, intuiting, feeling, and now boom, now we strike. Now we strike. That is really very specific for a lot of Pisces here. And I do hold on to the knowledge and belief that a lot of Pisces have very, very keen intuitions, but sometimes we second guess them, right? But the overall theme, aside from the people that we have this week, is just a lot of energetic input, but analysis, planning, strategizing, and watching. Now, the Page of Wands cuts from a very similar mold to the Page of Pentacles, right? Except this one's a little more fired up. This one's a little more trigger happy, so to speak. So when I see it underneath the Page of Pentacles, it's like, no, now, let's do it, let's go. So it's like we do have this action on the back end. It just all shows in a lot of different ways. And I'm not going to tell you which one's wrong or right, but it's like everyone has their own different way to deal with something or handle it. Like they have their own methods and routes. And they're all valid in their own kind of way. I don't want to like cop out by saying that it's just there's so many different directions the energy is spreading in this week. So it's like we have to look at the big overarching themes. But yeah, interesting for conversation. Lots of other people. We've been seeing the magnetism recently. So if you're not feeling quite social, maybe you want to get into hermit mode because this energy is coming at you. But let's go through and do a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadow. If you kindly look in the box position, number one, we got the Hanged Man with the King of Wands in the upright, where it's like, I want to do something, but I can't. I want to make this happen, but maybe I shouldn't. It's like waiting on the right time to pounce, right? Whereas this one on the back end is a little different, where it's like, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. This one is much more pulled in. There's the observing, the planning, the watching. It's all over the place. We got the King of Swords with the Queen of Cups in the upright. I did like that approach because it's using partial logic, partial intuition, using a little bit of both of those tool sets. Very important, at least in my opinion. So I like this approach a lot. But again, I'm getting the observing, the watching, the analyzing. So just take that for whatever it's worth. There's a lot of eyes on. Moving to the back end, we have the Page of Pentacles with the Page of Wands in the upright. I did say like this one's a little more apt to jump, whereas like this one is perfect. This one's analyzing and feeling. This one's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, it's a shiny thing. Let me go grab it. So like we have the different approaches here. A lot of people, a lot of input. Please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card. Are we going to get another court card? Let's see. Let's see. Hey, we sure are going to get another court card, and it's a repeat one. So we have the Queen of Cups herself right there in the main part of the spread. She's showing up here. She looks a little bit different. So we'll talk about the good aspects and the shadow aspects of the Queen of Cups. The thing I love about her is the creativity, the soft shoulder to lean on, the ear that will listen. It's very empathetic, loving, caring, and nurturing. That's great. And again, as a Pisces power card, this is beautiful. There's a lot of depth here. But the downside to the Queen of Cups is sometimes she could put way too much pressure on herself. Sometimes she can suppress things and hold things in and push it down, or just hold herself to a very high standard and bottle it up, if that makes sense. So in this time, Spirit could be warning, like, hey, Pisces, you need an outlet for all the energy. Don't bottle it up. Don't push it down. Don't put so much pressure. If you are doing that, you might need a place to put all of it. And she is just very emotional and very tender. So in this time, for a lot of Pisces, you might just be a little more tender than you normally are. Nothing wrong with that. So we're just going to let her chill out right there, my friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the March subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight into your situation and you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The March calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the March subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 subscribers to win either a copy of the Everyday Witches Tarot, beautiful deck, or handmade crystal pendant, which I showcase at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's two simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, what zodiac signs do you get along best with? Which ones are your favorite? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.